Welcome to Companial SofTalk podcast. My name is Rimvydas. Saulis, I'm running the cloud business line, and in our cloud business line we actually bridge the gap between on-premise world and cloud world, because we run the platform with more than 2,000 servers and making sure that it's well functioning and properly maintained. And I'm glad that today with me is Konstantin, senior developer, and he was at the roots of creating this platform, and he knows inside out what it takes to move from on-premise to cloud, and he makes sure that our platform functions well and maintained properly. So welcome, Konstantin.
Hello, nice to be here.
Today's topic, as I said, is on-prem dead. That's not really a soft question, it's very hard talk question, right? So Konstantin, what do you think? Is the on-prem dead? Is it only cloud now?
I don't think on-prem is dead. There are a lot of companies still have some hardware on-premise, some migrating to the cloud, some have hybrid. But what is on-prem? So on-prem is, if you have some hardware and software running in your building server room. But nowadays definitions kind of changing and going to the, you can call it hybrid, but some still call it on-prem. When you're renting your servers from the cloud providers, like Microsoft, Azure or Google Cloud or AWS. Yeah, this is from the technical side, and what from the business.
Yeah, so from the business side, I remember that we were having a study of many CIOs a few years ago, and the question was, are they planning to move to cloud, or are they not planning to move to cloud entirely? And there was no black and white picture, right? So some of them, they said, yes, we're going full speed to cloud. Some of them were very pessimistic and said, no, we're staying on premise. But the vast majority, if I remember correctly, 70% said that they foresee the hybrid cloud. So, and it makes sense because they made investments to on-premise world, but they saw the benefits of cloud world, and they were planning very pragmatically which workloads to move to cloud, which faster, which slower, which leave it on-premise, which would entirely be on the cloud. So in most cases, from business side, probably those companies who invested heavily in on-premise, they probably want it to pay off, so they don't want it to let it go. And for new workloads, most of them are probably still already choosing cloud. On the other side, you mentioned very precisely that sometimes it's not very clear where on-premise ends and cloud begins, right? So if you're running on-premise type of the server in the cloud, so is it cloud or is it on-premise? So that's actually what we do in our platform, bridging this gap. But one thing I remember back then was on top of every conversation about the cloud versus on-prem was security topic, right? So back at that time, there were doubts if cloud is secure enough, or back then, technical people and CEOs thought that on-premise is more secure. So what is it? How is it now, Konstantin? What about security from your point of view?
A lot of people think that on-premise is more secure because you control your data, your hardware, and so on. But the biggest threat nowadays, from the security point, is human engineering. This is why the cloud is becoming better, and services is even more secure.
Do you think that human engineering can be better tackled in cloud?
Yeah, in the cloud you have more people up to date to the newest threats, and also you have new technologies that tracks who logged in, who logged out, and when, from which country, and so on. Cloud providers put a lot of money there, like Microsoft.
Yeah, by the way, absolutely, and that's what I thought, that especially those huge cloud providers like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, you name it, right? They invest so much in security, so much. I mean, their business completely depends on the security, right? If one of the platform would be breached or would not be secure enough, then probably big losses for them. And it's a big money involved, right? So they better be secure, and I'm sure they're investing, a lot of money. We work with Microsoft primarily, so we know how seriously Microsoft takes the security question, how big are investments, how many security certificates Microsoft and probably other cloud providers have. But it's also not only about the data center provider security, it's also about the service provider security certificate. So if you're running the service on Azure, Microsoft Azure data center, or any other big data center, it's not only data center security, it's about your service security. So definitely we encourage everyone who chooses the cloud platform to double check whether your service provider has a security certificate. Example, ISO 27001, which is the information security management system, is like a good sign if the service provider has the security certificate. We know how much it takes effort to get the certificate, how many controls need to be implemented. So, security in the cloud is definitely a very important topic. Certificate is one of the good signs whether the provider is secure or not.
Yeah.
A question to you from the technical side: what do you see the biggest benefits of cloud versus on-prem, or vice versa, on-premise versus cloud?
On-prem, you control your data, you can have a more modification tailored to your needs. In the cloud, it's more probably like a base which then you can or cannot modify. So if you need more flexibility, it's like you go into on-premise or hybrid. If you're a new customer who doesn't know his needs, you go to the cloud and figure out it later.
You mentioned a lot of ifs, and I'm sure those CIOs that thinking about that also have a lot of ifs. What we see also pretty pragmatic approach to be honest. We call it phased approach to cloud. Some people call it hybrid approach. Might be different definitions, but we see that again, you move to cloud when you are ready. You don't have to move everything at once. Move one workload, prepare for another one, move the second one. You may have like a hybrid in between to make sure that cloud is functioning well for you. So that's what we see in many cases. So IT might be fascinating and revolutionary. But when the serious decisions are involved, a lot of CIOs are pragmatic and making sure that our migrations are going at the pace that is comfortable with them, and move what is possible at the time, and then prepare for the further migration. Obviously, the path to cloud is very clear. I mean, everybody is moving slower or faster. But everybody moving to cloud direction.
Nowadays, the tools created, if you create it for the cloud, later it's so easy to go to the on-premise if you need to if you're big enough, and so you need to control your cash flow or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Although the cutting edge innovations like AI is definitely on cloud. Thank you for viewing our podcast, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.